This morning, Saturday morning, yesterday I went to my father-in-law's and I noticed I had a bunch of plums. They're the small umeboshi plums, and they're actually not the color of the plums we think of, which are like these, right? Or maybe even darker. They're actually yellow. And I wish I'd taken a picture of them beforehand, but I didn't think about it. But this is the next stage, is taking the pip out. So here are the plums, and I've just used my hand, squeezed them out, and I put all the seeds here. These go into the ground, and who knows, become plum trees. Imagine if we started planting every seed that comes through our kitchen into the ground. Well, that's what I do. And literally, I can move the trees once they start growing or whatever, but the point is to plant trees. And then what I'm going to do with this here is I'm going to add my herb sweetener to it. This is herb sweetener. It's basically a super rich tea made from herbs. And then what I do is I fill it with organic brown sugar and make this really thick, amazing, delicious sweetener. So I'm going to use this sweetener as a base to basically cook the umeboshi in. So what I'm going to do is just pour this in here. I don't need, this is sugar. So this is the sugar base for it. It also has the beautiful herb taste in it, and it's going to create this really unique product. The next step to making jam is really easy. You're basically going to put it on the stove, turn it on, and what you want to do is actually cook it on a lower heat, not on a big heat. And what I love about the Japanese stove, which we don't have and I'm so used to, is a timer. So look at that, I can do 4 hours. Okay, 7 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 3, 2, 1, 90 minutes. That sounds fine. So I'm going to put on a low heat for 90 minutes. I could do less, but I just want to cook it through and let it just get all the syrup into it. The next stage I'm going to do after this will be to blend it. Now, what I do wish, and which I'm going to bring back next year, is a Vitamix. And that's my goal, is when I come back next year, I'm going to come back with a Vitamix, because they're just the best damn blenders in the world. So I'm out of my food force, and I've got this whole section down here. I'd love to have trees. So let's see what's growing here. This here is actually all sunflowers coming up that I planted. There's actually a rogue tomato from last year. Love the spearmint, right next to the kitchen. Easy access, open the door, grab some spearmint. I'm going to be using the spearmint, by the way, in the umeboshi, or I may use this apple mint over here. Or I could use this fennel. Or I could even use this lemon balm. The choices to create a really unique, umeboshi jam is endless. Or I could even use some shiso that I have growing up all over. You can see a lot of it, the red stuff is shiso. And all that there is my fennel. I don't have a lot of, this is actually hyssop. Here's some more. And I have one little bit of bee balm growing. Those things bent over are actually, all that there is actually garlic. This is garlic, and I'm just letting the seeds mature on the stems here, and they'll drop down. I'll have garlic growing in here. So, where am I going to put these? Well, I'm going to put them, I think, down along here, maybe into here. There's, you can see stuff here I got growing. I've actually thrown a bunch of seeds out here. You can see now we have stuff growing. Actually moved some apple mint over here. This apple mint doesn't look too happy, but this one is looking okay. This is actually a tree that I planted, and there's another one over here I recognize right here. That's a tree, and I can't forget what it's called, but it has like a huge apple-like. So I think I'm actually going to put these in here. And actually this is corn growing up in here. All this corn is sprouting up, so I'm going to have a big little field of corn here. So I'm thinking I'm going to stick these, maybe even back here. Yeah, my other tree died. I'm going to put these all along here and create an umeboshi hedge. So create a hedgerow of umeboshi. So that's what I'm going to do with these right now. So what I've done here is I've actually just dug a little trench along here, and just taking these, I'm just going to just put these plum seeds all along here, all along the trench. Remember, I can always dig them up again. The idea is if I put a lot of them in here, some should live, and I can spread them out a little bit here and then start burying them. Right? I got these stones here. Move these out the way. Put these over here. Gosh. Right. Gosh. And a few over here. I can move to the end here and then just bury. Spread them out. If you don't bury seeds, there's no chance of them growing. That's how I look at them. If you bury them, you give them a chance. And the one thing I've learned about nature is nature will try to live. I have seen trees growing on the side of a road with no dirt, just in the seam. I took a picture of it just the other day. And all we need to do is give them an opportunity. Give nature an opportunity, and then it'll take care. Let's take care of the rest. Okay, so now these are buried. Step on them. Press them down in the ground. Let this ground cover pull up the weeds. That's actually an edible plant there. All right. But I can take the opportunity to pull up weeds and just cover. Stop something from digging them up. And that's it. There you go. We'll see if it grows. These here are biwa trees growing up here. So I'd like to have a big hedge here, maybe even have a hedge here of fruit trees, you know, that then provide a base. We get a lot of wind through here, so this is the reason why I want trees here. Another idea for this area here is actually bamboo. Have a whole bamboo garden growing down here. That'd be kind of cool. As you can see here, a lot of stuff growing. There's some more shiso. Pretty much everything growing is edible. Can't remember what I planted those, but some sort of beans, I guess, to put nitrogen in. Looks like a bean of some sort growing up. So this is all about this, what I call Foundups lifestyle, living in the Foundups way. And ultimately, these products we make, we distribute to our neighbors and to our local community and to others, and tell them, hey, these products, the time, the effort was paid for by our global stakeholders, Foundups. And ultimately, we brand them the same. We put our Foundups label on it. We promote the vision of sustainability through Foundups. And ultimately, all those that are part of Foundups get equity in Foundups. They're all small independent businesses under a global corporate umbrella that they're all independent, but you as a stakeholder have shares in Foundups Corp just by becoming a stakeholder, of supporting a new business model. You know, I just watched Shane Smith, who is the founder of Vice, talking about rising sea levels. And it's something I've been talking about for years and years now. And it's so great to see Shane and others now finally, you know, talking about it and bringing light to it. Because the bottom line is, what Shane doesn't understand, what all these people understand, that the driving force, the underlining driving force isn't political. It isn't, in a way economical, right? All those are systemic outcomes of the problem. The problem is the engine, and that engine is our business model that I simply call the selfish startup. That engine, that business model, basically is selfish. It's selfish. It's about me, making money for me, for my few stakeholders. You know, here's a perfect example. Sprint, which is a massive cellular company, is owned by 85% of Sprint is owned by a Japanese company. And the majority of the stakeholders of that Japanese company are not people around here. No, there are a few, they're investors, they're hedge funds, there's these small groups of individuals. All these large corporations are run that way. All these billion-dollar companies are ultimately run and owned by less than 1% of our global population. And it's not in their interest to change their system because it's a huge cake that they're eating and it's providing them kind of a lifestyle, a change. You and I, we're just ordinary people. But here's the opportunity. Since June, crowdfunding law changed, we can now give you equity for supporting our crowdfunding efforts. And we can start launching companies like Foundups Corporation that is a global co-op that educates people about living sustainably, that does free sustainable education, like the videos I make and provide on our channel. You could be joining me by becoming a stakeholder of Foundups and getting equity. The way I've set up the equity program is really simple. Number one is I'm gifting the shares myself. I have the shares in Foundups Corporation. I'm gifting them to you. Number two, the shares right now are just a penny a share. And ultimately, as we grow and build Foundups, the valuation, the cost of the shares are going to go up and up and up. We have something called Foundup houses. We have something called Foundup dollars that will be used in their own currency, which is kind of like Bitcoin. We have our own platform called Play Foundups app that ultimately we will build once we have enough supporters and money coming in to pay for developers to get this coding built. Ultimately, what I'm able to do with the little money, I have $1,000 or so, usually around $700, $800 to $1,000 a month coming in, allows me to travel, allows me to do these videos, it allows me to basically promote the idea, the vision of Foundups on a global scale. It helps me to start and launch things called Foundup houses, which I've started in Silicon Valley. So I hope that what I'm doing will be of interest to you, and you'll go check out Foundups.com, because unfortunately, without your support, Foundups isn't going to happen. Because, see, Foundups is not something that's going to be attractive to the million-dollar investor, to the accredited investor. Why? Because there's no big return potential for them. The return potential they're looking for is in the tens of millions of dollars. And ultimately, they're looking for that sort of return in a startup which is selfish. So if we can start launching Foundups, which are powered by the people, for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of our planet, for its species and everything else, then maybe we can bring about the change that we're looking for. Without so, like Shane says, we're screwed. So if you care about climate change, if you care about rising sea levels, understand the problem is not our political system. It's our business model, the selfish startup.